back on the River Indy Gen 3. This is an EV which I have reviewed a couple of years ago, and it really impressed me a lot. And what River has done is really built on this, because they have brought in a flurry of changes. One of the biggest changes is the fact that this is now almost 7 kgs lighter at 135 kgs, and that is mainly down to a brand new chassis, and the chassis has also enabled them to increase the ground clearance by 9 millimeters. So at 177 millimeters you have enough and more ground clearance to ride this EV with a pillion, with your luggage, and still have plenty and more ground clearance. And another big change, of course, is the new parking button, which is a separate button altogether, which is so much easier to operate. Even the button quality on all of this is so much better. I'm very happy to see that. Then you have bar ends on this handlebar, and that's primarily been done to ensure that in case of a fall, the EV doesn't accidentally accelerate when you're trying to pick it up. So it's a good feature to have. Then even the handlebar actually is a little bit different. This is a little bit tubular, and it has this new plastic cover. Changes which River tell us they have done essentially to reduce the vibrations which you feel coming onto the handlebar. Then the other big change, of course, is the change to the chain drive instead of the belt drive to keep the maintenance costs in check. I think that has also helped bring the weight down a little bit. In terms of aesthetics, the scooter or the EV has essentially stayed the same, which I don't mind at all. I've always been very fond of this utilitarian design, and I'm not the only one. The scooter or the EV won the Concept Red Dot prestigious award in 2024, and then again won the same award for the production model that we see here. So yeah, it's a really, some might call it quirky, but a really good functional design. And what I love about it is it looks the part. When you look at this EV, it looks spacious, it looks comfortable, it looks like what River likes to call the SUV approach. Yeah, you have 14-inch wheels, you have fatter tires, you have so much space. So yeah, the design has stayed the same. The only other small change they've done is to the grab rail. I think that's primarily what they've done to facilitate easy fitting of the top box, because yeah, that's the other thing which River does so well. Not only do you have 55 liters of space available already on this, like on the previous model, but also you can fit panniers and a top box, which gives you even more space. So in terms of spaciousness, I don't think the River Indy has absolutely any competition whatsoever. The other things that they have done also is the introduction of hill hold control, which is again a welcome feature to have, especially when you're inclined. But I'll talk a little bit more about it, because even though I like the addition of the feature, it doesn't work as well as it should. But a little bit more about it later. So in terms of the battery, again, that's gone unchanged. You still have the same 4 kilowatt hour battery. Yes, for a 4 kilowatt hour battery, the range which the River Indy claims is a little bit disappointing, because the maximum you can get out of this is 110. But the good thing about it is this is the kind of range that you will get irrespective of how you ride it. If you're riding in the city, if you're riding on the highway, if you're riding moderately, if you're riding with the throttle wide open all the time, we got pretty much the same range as they have prescribed in all the 3 modes, with a variation about 5 kilometers. So we could eke out about 65 kilometers in the rush mode, about 85 in the ride, and in the eco mode, again, that's just I don't think that's a very useful mode, because you don't really have the same kind of response. Although this will go up an 18-degree incline even in the eco mode. But yeah, I personally did not really enjoy that part of testing. But yes, in the eco mode you can get about 106. The only difference I saw this time around was previously I could ride up to and drain the battery up to 1%. This time around, a couple of times it conked off at like 3%. So I would keep 5% battery as a buffer just to be on the safe side, even when you're testing. And again, we have had absolutely zero mechanical failures, no overheating, no sudden change of modes, nothing. So again, it's a very robust, very well designed product on that front. But that also means that the regen on this continues to be the same. It's not adjustable, and I still feel that River could have maybe allowed a little more regen to make this feel more like a conventional ice scooter, which is more familiar for a lot of people, and it would also help it eke out a little more range, as we have seen on its competition. The other things, in terms of, again, comfort, this is absolutely brilliant. It's super roomy, especially with the pegs out front. Even for the rider, you have such a wide rider's triangle to make it comfortable for people of all shapes and sizes. You also have the flat floorboard, which is not only handy when it comes to taking or storing more stuff or carrying more stuff, but that even this position is not too bad at all. The seat is really wide and comfortable and plush for the rider as well as pillion. Then you have ride quality, which again continues to be a bittersweet feeling, because the back, the rear is preload adjustable twin shocks, and it's easily one of the best shocks that I've experienced on a scooter or EV. Just absorbs everything in its wake, really well damped. But I wish I could say the same about the front, because the front feels horribly underdamped, especially when you're going over bumps or bad roads. You get so much feedback coming onto the handlebar. That was my problem with the previous gen, and it continues to be the problem with Gen 3 as well, because I don't think they've tweaked the suspension setup at all. So that's kind of a bummer, because the other thing that the lack of rebound damping does for the front is it also takes away some of the bite from the braking. But the brakes on this are, as you can see, really good. You have combined braking, but because the front doesn't stay on the ground long enough, I think you kind of lose out on the full potency of the brakes. In terms of the TFT dash, that's also pretty much stayed the same. You just have a little more things laid out, again in a very nice, clear fashion. It's very easy to operate and find your way through. There is no navigation as on the competition, but you can get this as an accessory, which is like a weatherproof case for your phone, so that your navigation is taken care of. So coming back to hill hold control, it doesn't work as well as it should, because I think it works only on an incline, doesn't work on a decline. And a lot of times I found myself, when we were shooting, we were on a decline and I had to continuously cover my brake. And also on a flat surface where the incline is not the most prominent and you try to activate it, when you press both the brake levers, you can see the system activating or initiating the hill hold, but a lot of times it doesn't engage it very well. So I think it's a work in progress. So to summarize, the Gen 3 of the River Indy only builds on the solid case that it made when we first reviewed it a couple of years ago. And with all the changes they have made in terms of especially the weight reduction by a solid 7 kgs, the increase in ground clearance, the addition of a separate parking button, the overall buttons look so much better now. There are still some niggling issues. Personally, I feel the front suspension needs to be looked into, because that, if they can just improve the damping, the rebound damping, they will have a huge effect on the overall ride quality, which will be much better. And the braking as well, you'll have a lot more support under hard braking, which is anyways one of the strongest points of the River Indy. They have gotten over the biggest hurdle in their way, which was the very limited sales and service network that they had when they first started out. But now, over the last couple of years, that has expanded to about 60 touch points, and almost 100 is what they're aiming for by the end of this year. And I think that's going to play a crucial role in the success of this scooter.
Welcome to civilization.
And the fact that even Yamaha getting their EV scooter made from these guys gives you a really good insight into the kind of R&D, the kind of engineering that these guys have done in this scooter. But yes, as with all the other things, as with the entire industry as a whole, the prices have gone up. Now this one will put you back by almost 1.5 lakhs, and that's where I feel the small niggles need to be addressed so that this becomes a much better product overall, a more robust product overall with very few flaws, and that will also help it compete much stronger with more accomplished players like the Aether.